It's been nearly 4 decades since the release of the classic gangster film Scarface, but its influence on popular culture is still felt today. Have you ever wondered why Scarface is still so relevant and how it has shaped our culture? In this video, we'll talk about how Scarface changed music, fashion, and the movie business. Before we get started, please give us a like and subscribe to our channel if you haven't done so yet. Let's get started. Scarface has inspired countless gangster films and writers. Scarface, which was directed by Brian De Palma and starred Al Pacino as a Cuban immigrant who became a crime boss, had a huge effect on all of pop culture. Since its release in 1983, Scarface has inspired countless gangster films, crime writers, rappers, though you won't find any classic referential bars on the list, that's its own undertaking, and at least 2 action movies per year in which one character asks another to say hello to their little friend. Scarface, a movie that got mostly negative or neutral reviews when it first came out, has become so popular that it's almost become a cliche. But we have no use for a wimp like that. The many ways Scarface has inspired other movies. It's no secret that Tony Montana, the iconic character from the 1983 movie Scarface, has had a huge influence on gangster-related films. From Goodfellas to The Godfather, many movies have paid homage to the larger-than-life figure of Tony Montana. His rude behavior, memorable one-liners, and violent actions have been used in a lot of movies, making him one of the most important characters in film history. But just how many gangster-related films have taken inspiration from Scarface? Well, the answer is a lot. Tony Montana's influence can be seen in all of the gangster movies, from The Departed to American Gangster. People have copied his style, used his lines, and talked about him in many different ways. It's clear that Scarface has left a lasting impression on the gangster movie genre, and Tony Montana's legacy will continue to live on. Disney's The Lion King was inspired by Tony Montana from Scarface. If you're a fan of Disney, you may have noticed that Scar from The Lion King bears a striking resemblance to Tony Montana from Scarface. But Scarface isn't the only movie to draw inspiration from the notorious film. From comedies to dramas, many other films have paid homage to the 1983 classic. Take, for example, the 2006 comedy The Departed. The character played by Jack Nicholson is a clear reference to Tony Montana, right down to the white suit and cigar. The movie even features a scene in which Nicholson's character is seen watching Scarface on television. In addition, the 2008 drama The Wrestler also plays tribute to the film. The character played by Mickey Rourke is seen watching Scarface in a bar and even saying lines from the movie. It's clear that Scarface had a lasting influence on Hollywood, from Disney to the big screen. So the next time you watch a movie, keep an eye out for any references to Tony Montana and Scarface. Hitman Villain. Pablo Belisario Ochoa is a made-up character, but he looks a lot like Tony Montana from the movie Scarface. From the white suit to the Cuban accent and the "say hello to my little friend" catchphrase, it's clear that Ochoa was inspired by Montana. But the similarities don't end there. Both characters are drug lords, and both are driven by a thirst for power and money. While Ochoa may not be as well known as Montana, he has certainly left his mark on the movie industry. His character has been mentioned in other movies like The Departed and The Hangover, which shows that he's not just a copycat, he's an inspiration. Meet the Fockers was even influenced by the 80s hit Scarface. You heard that right. Meet the Fockers was even influenced by the 80s hit Scarface. It's true. When baby LJ accidentally turns on the TV, he's treated to a shooting scene straight out of the classic gangster flick. It's a subtle nod to the influence of Scarface on the Fockers, and a reminder that even the most wholesome of families have a wild side. So if you're looking for a fun and lighthearted movie with a hint of Scarface's edge, then Meet the Fockers is a perfect choice. Immortality of dialogue and its huge impact on pop culture. "Say hello to my little friend" is a line from the movie Scarface that will never be forgotten and has helped cement the movie's place in pop culture history. Tony puts on a heavy artillery machine gun that fires lethal bazookas. This part of the ending was so memorable because of his colorful, tough guy attitude and the way he said it. From this, we can deduce that Tony Montana and Cinematic Treasure will never be used together. Young Black and Hispanic men and some women have given Scarface and its titular character a place in pop culture history by making them their own. The movie came out around the same time as gangster rap and hip-hop. Since then, many music videos have used its visuals, flashy jewelry, and celebration of drug dealing and trafficking. All these rappers out there rapping about how much money they have and how many drugs they sell, that's who they're emulating. They're living their own Tony Montana dream, one rap fan observed. Influence on fashion. Since the release of Scarface in 1983, fashion has undergone a major transformation. The movie's influence on fashion can be seen in everything from the over-the-top bling of hip-hop culture to the more subtle incorporation of Scarface's style into everyday clothing. Not only has the movie inspired people to dress in a certain way, but it has also become a symbol of power, success, and wealth. The iconic look of Tony Montana, the main character in Scarface, has been replicated by many people in their own lives. His white suit, open-collared shirt, and Cuban-style cigar have become synonymous with the movie's influence on fashion. From the red carpet to the street, the fashion of Scarface is still seen today in the form of statement pieces, such as loud colors, bold prints, and flashy accessories. People of all ages, even young people, wear Tony Montana and Scarface t-shirts, which shows that it had an effect on pop culture. Overall, Scarface has had a huge influence on fashion since its release in 1983. From the over-the-top bling of hip-hop culture to the more subtle incorporation of Scarface's style into everyday clothing, the movie has inspired people to dress in a certain way, and it has become a symbol of power, success, and wealth. So if you want to show off your own version of Scarface style, don't be afraid to embrace the movie's influence and make it your own. The influence of Scarface on music. Scarface has had a major influence on the music industry since its release in 1983. From the famous opening song where Tony Montana, or Al Pacino, raps along to Scarface, Push It to the Limit by Paul Engemann, to the many hip-hop and rap songs that use lines and music from the movie, Scarface has had a big impact on the genre. Many artists say that it had a big impact on their work, and its themes of ambition, power, and violence still resonate with listeners. Scarface has become a cultural touchstone, and its characters and lines of dialogues will always be remembered. It's no wonder that Scarface remains a popular movie and a source of inspiration for musicians and fans alike. Impacts of Scarface on hip-hop culture. The text was borrowed very early on in the development of hip-hop, and its effect can still be seen today. Along with NWA, the Ghetto Boys rose to fame in the 1980s and 90s with songs about making money through illegal activities. In 1989, rap artist Brad Terrence Jordan even appropriated the film's title as a stage name. As rap's influence on mainstream culture grew, Ice Cube shouted "I bury those cockroaches" on his 1992 hit song, When Will They Shoot? There is a classic hip-hop song from the 1990s that borrows its whole mantra from the movie. The World Is Yours by Nas is a massive hit from his landmark album, Illmatic. We learn that Montana has taken to heart a motto for the film's spirit from an inscription on a monument in his absurdly extravagant estate, which he first saw on a blimp. In the same album's track, NY State of Mind, Scarface is shown holding an M16 while taking a hit of cocaine. Atlanta rapper Future paid tribute to the myth and the anti-hero in a song called Tony Montana, which was seen on his first album, which came out in 2012. The song made references to Cuban cigars and banana boats. Finally, it's clear that Scarface has had an undeniable influence on pop culture. Scarface is a cultural touchstone that will stay important for years to come. It has been mentioned in music, movies, and TV shows, and Tony Montana has become an iconic figure. Its effect shows how powerful movies can be and how they can keep people's attention for generations. What will be the next classic that will have such a lasting impact? Only time will tell. That's all for today. Thanks for watching.